When it comes to content marketing, there are three types of content creators, and knowing these content creator archetypes, which is what I refer to them as, is really important, because if you don't know them, you could be positioning yourself on off brand and actually not appealing to the right audience. So I'm going to break down the three content archetypes for you in this episode of Content Marketing 101 and show you some examples and talk about some examples of people doing this effectively and why you can do it yourself. Before we go any further, my name is Borland, content marketing coach, helping you build an impactful and profitable business. If you're new to the show, be sure to hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all the latest and greatest content marketing content. So let's dive in with the very first one. So when it comes to an archetype, first of all, an archetype is a preset template, and that's what we're going to talk about in this thing. They're the three creator archetypes. Now, these templates, you can deviate from them, of course you can, but following these templates is going to give you a much greater chance of success, because it allows you to be a specific thing to fix a specific need for your audience. So these are archetypes, templates, okay? So I want you to understand that before I dive in and explain and show the examples. So the very first one we have is the expert. So the expert is actually the trusted advisor. So this is the person who is positioning themselves as usually a coach, a consultant, a freelancer, a business owner, whatever it may be. They are what we refer to as trusted advisors. And a coach and the expert creator archetype will create content that is more how-to, that is educational based. Now, this is really, really important to understand, and great, because what they do is they're trying to share themselves as a thought leader in their space, an authority in what they do. The term expert itself doesn't have to mean that you are an expert, because people don't like that term. However, I'm a big believer that you should start to own that term, because you are an expert. There's no point of reaching expertise. If you know something, you are an expert in that thing. So own that. But a great example of an expert in our kind of modern life is Grant Cardone. So Grant Cardone is a public figure, and if you don't know who Grant Cardone is, he's known for being a like a money machine. He's very, very much a sales coach. He's an entrepreneur, but his content that he creates, and if you're listening to this as a podcast, I'd highly recommend checking out the YouTube video, because we're actually analyzing his Instagram right now. If you look at the podcast, if you look at his page, his content is all very much around education. Now, he does have, as you go through his content, you're going to throw humanized content in there as well, but he's got here things talking about capping interest rates. He has lots of whiteboard videos explaining what he is about. He has whiteboard videos talking about how he can teach you something. So this is a really interesting look when you start to look at this type of content. Teaching a 14-year-old how to make 10k so he can fund his business. This is an expert content. Now, an expert then this is the first archetype. So is this expert. So the second archetype then, and I'll explain how they all feed in together, but the second archetype is what we call the enthusiast. So the enthusiast is not the expert, okay? An enthusiast is not somebody who is an expert in this topic, and in fact, they are more what I would like to refer to as a passionate amateur. Now, the amateur level doesn't mean skill. So don't worry if, like, you could be incredibly good at something. Calling you an amateur doesn't mean you're not skillful. Look at amateur sports professionals. They're all competing in the Olympics. Amateur boxers are not bad. So amateur does not mean bad. But what it does mean is that these creators are not trying to teach you something. They're usually trying to share their journey. So they're trying to share their own hero's journey, where they're off to. So the enthusiast is usually passionate about a topic, and then shares that with the world. And this is very much what we call very much entertainment content. We love to watch this stuff. This is the people we fall in love with because we're interested in seeing their own journey. But we don't buy from these people in the same way. This is the reason why the Kardashians are very, very big, why we really enjoyed their content, why we watch tons and tons of reality TV is this enthusiast-based content. Now, an amazing example of the enthusiast is in the UK. If you're not in the UK, you might not understand this one, but if you're in the UK, we have a woman called Mrs. Hinch. So Mrs. Hinch was an Instagram kind of sensation. She had 4.1 million followers, and she became massive because she started posting content around cleaning her house and her family and having just a lovely home. So this is Mrs. Hinch Home. Now, she gained a ton of following because she was doing photos of her house and decorating her house and what that would be and how that would look. And this is what we call an enthusiast-based content. Very different from an expert, because the expert, they are going to be educating you, whereas an enthusiast is just talking about their own education process or their own learning process, and it's very interesting in a different way. So very similar to me, I myself as an archetype I'm the expert. I create expert content to teach you things. Funnily enough, my wife, she is an enthusiast. She has a allotment, a home kitchen, a kitchen garden, and she creates a blog all around that. That is enthusiast content. And that is the difference. So you have to understand the two different ones. People come to watch and listen to enthusiast content because it's escapism, because it allows them to entertain themselves, not to learn so much. Now, don't get me wrong, they will learn elements of this will blend over, but remember that the key reasons why people come: education for the expert, entertainment for the enthusiast. And this brings me on to the final one. So the final one is the curator. So the curator is the my favorite one, because it's the most overlooked and yet like usually does the best. So a curator doesn't actually make content, they curate it, they gather it around a specific topic. And what they do is they make it a place where, for example, if there's an expert in let's say there's an expert in a BMW mechanics, someone who puts together a BMW, does loads of videos on YouTube and a podcast all about how they, on YouTube, say for example, about how to fix your own BMW. And then you have a podcast, which is the BMW podcast, where people sit down, two guys sit down and they talk all about how much they love BMWs and what they do, and they do a weekly show on it. That is what we call an enthusiast content. The curator content would be like a fan page, which would bring those two things together, and they would share those with the community. So in other words, it might be the BMW fan page, and they might share videos from the expert. They might share videos from the podcast from the enthusiast. They're going to curate content from other sources and put it in a place where people of like minds will enjoy it. There's a massive rise in this. This is meme accounts. So any meme account in your industry is a curator account. But the biggest one, by far the biggest one that I can think of, is Lad Bible. So Lad Bible actually curates. Currently, when recording this is the the Euro. The Euros has just been happening, so there's tons of England content here and football content. But what they do is they curate stuff that they believe is viral for lads. It's funny, and it literally, their slogan says, stuff to tell the lads about. That's what it's all about. So they curate content. None of this content that they have on their page, they've actually made. None of it is theirs. It has all been taken from other meme accounts, from other creators, from different archetypes, and they put it in one place, knowing full well that when it goes onto Lad Bible, people will watch it because they have a curated audience of trusted people. They love that type of content. So those are the three content creator archetypes. You have the expert, the enthusiast, the curator. All three of these are brilliant, by the way, but you need to decide for yourself which one you are. If you're not clear on the type of content creator archetype that you want to fit in, then it's going to make your content very unclear. And this is where we see this happen all the time. Someone might do a how-to video explaining things. Oh, this is great, this is what I do, this is how, this is content marketing. Then what they might do then is they might then put a post up about them in the gym and their absolute love for coffee, which is absolutely fine. But if they do too much of that, that's now enthusiast content. So we're now mixing these. And then what they might do is then share a blog or a YouTube video on their website or on their Facebook page around someone else's piece of content around what they do. That's curator content. This is what standard social media and digital marketing, content marketing people do. This is what we do when we see other people's sites. However, the most successful and effective content marketers and the most successful and effective content marketing strategy is about owning one of these. All three of these will yield results, but owning one of them will mean that people will come to you for one specific reason: entertainment, education, or community. And if you know which one you want, you can then laser focus on that in all your strategy to try and reinforce that. Now, you want a little bit of all of this in them. You know, you want maybe 90% of the expert and then 5 of enthusiast, 5 of curator. That's fine. But you want to heavily double down on one, because that's why people come. Education, entertainment, or community. You decide which one you want people to follow you for, and when you do that, you can then tailor your entire content marketing strategy around that. So those are the content marketing and content creator archetypes. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching it live when we're recording this. Let me know in the comments which ones you are. If you have any questions, let me know. Check out the free Content Marketing Masterclass, and I will see you in the next episode. Okay, guys? Bye.